Today's episode is brought to you by Romer Skincare. Based out of Chicago, Romer launched a work-from-home clean skincare line that covers all of your skin needs. They proved that you don't need a million serums and eye creams to get better skin. Why we love them? Clean ingredients and effective results with just a simple 3-step routine that you and even your partner can share. Right now, Romer Skincare is offering our listeners 15% off and a gift with your first purchase by using code LISTENER15. That's code LISTENER15 on their website, romerskincare.com. No stress, no clutter, just happy skin.
Hello and welcome to the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Hello. This is quite a big week for us. We've had quite a lot of exciting things going on. I am,
so
of
many
course,
things.
I know, so many things. I am, of course, Russ. Along with me for the ride is Michelle and Kyle. As always, how you guys doing?
Oh, you know.
We good.
Exciting and overwhelming week, to some extent.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is good. We are going to get into our main topic in the second half, as always, and we are delighted to be joined by Kevin Smokler and Christopher Boone, the directors of a great new documentary called Vinyl Nation, that if you know me personally or if you've heard any episode on the show, you know that I would you describe me as quite passionate about vinyl?
Just a little bit.
I mean, we're sitting away from, I don't know, 1,300 records or so. So I'm going to...
Nah.
Yeah, so...
You got some room to grow.
Right. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having us, everybody. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's really hard for me to cut myself off talking about the doc because I loved this film.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and we'll get into a lot of why later, but it was for me, it wasn't the typical vinyl documentary that I've seen, and I mean that in absolutely the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we will get into that in a little while. What we're going to do first is talk about some of the cool things that happened to us this week. Like, for example, we made the finals for the Discover Pod Awards, which I am stunned by in the best way.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
I almost peed a little when you sent us that link to say that we were in the finals.
Sure. So I've plastered it all over social media, but if you're listening to the show and you want to help us out with that, you should
go help us out with that.
Kevin and Chris, meet Michelle. You can go to awards.discoverpods.com and you can put in whatever you can only vote for Best Music Podcast if you want to just vote for us, or if you have other favorites on the list, you can go right through. It's real quick, 5 minutes at the most,
if that,
to help us out with that. The other thing, too, is it hasn't officially started yet, so we're not going to do like a full-on ad read, but we partnered up with manscaped.com, which is pretty cool. So actually next week we'll start doing their ad reads and stuff. But if our listeners would like to, they can already use our discount code, which is IGP20 at manscaped.com, and you get free shipping and 20% off, which is pretty rad. And then the other thing is I'm told we're in the final stages of ordering stickers, is what I hear.
So close.
Yes.
So
Yep.
So
we are.
You need to follow us on Instagram at Infectious Groove Pod or on Twitter at Infectious_pod. And once we get the stickers in, we're going to do a full-on blitz and give out stickers to people who are following us on social media in the we're going to limit it to the United States for now because we don't want to pay for all these stickers and then pay, $100 to ship each sticker to someone else in another country. So that is everything that's been going on, and it is time to rip through some of the regular segments.
Music news.
Kyle, what it do? What it be?
Most of you have probably heard that Tony Lewis passed away. And those of you who don't know who Tony Lewis is, he was the singer for the Outfield.
Yeah.
And those of you who don't know who the Outfield is.
Right. Well, I was going to say, if anybody is listening right now and they go, who's Tony Lewis? I have just a few words for you. Josie's on vacation far away.
Yes.
That is what they're most famous for. And I don't know if it was fortunately or unfortunately, but like a year or so ago. We got to go see them.
Yeah.
Yes, fortunately.
No, we had a good time. It
Yeah.
was just the environment was odd. And,
Yeah.
Have you guys, Kevin and Chris, have you guys ever gone to what I called that show, like the music festival that's at, I don't know, like a Parks and Rec center? You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? So
The one where you're either listening to one person on an acoustic guitar on a 45-acre lawn with 10,000 other people,
Yes.
or you're listening to like the 19-piece like West African percussion band in the room with the tin walls or
Yep.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to both of those shows.
yeah. So we were just, we love that song like many other people do. So last year we were just like, oh, that dude's playing like 15 minutes away, let's
Yeah.
go. And so we went and saw him, and it was one of those things where when it came across that he passed, and young too, 62.
Yeah.
So.
Say it isn't so, man.
Yeah, I know. I just played that LP last night, and every time that song starts, I'm like, oh, I always forget what a jam this is too.
Yeah.
It's a
So
banger. Totally holds up.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. So you hear that song, I want to say, I don't want to overestimate it, but about 100 times a day between radio and general public. So, you hear that song all the time.
Yeah.
So, or rather, at least Your Love, and then
Yeah.
Say It Isn't So gets played quite a bit. But I've been on that Casey Case of My Heart radio kick, and boy, do you hear a lot of Outfield on that. Because, they were, huge in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
So, and all the way, you hear the song all the way up and down the charts. So you hear like, entering the chart at number 35, then you hear it go all the way to number 1 for over 3 or 4 weeks, and then all the way back down, So anyways, we of course don't mean to make light. It was just one of those things where it was like, one of those, oh, we just saw that dude, and he was 62,
Yeah.
I was trying to remember if that was the last concert we ever went to.
No.
But it was
No,
not.
Parker Millsap was.
I know.
And then Kyle and I went and saw Garth Brooks by ourselves, so
Oh,
you
yeah,
could just sleep at home instead of at the Garth
Oh, no, I
Brooks
slept at the
concert.
casino.
Kevin and Chris, just to let you in on that joke, it is a running gag, but it is very true. Michelle fell asleep once at a Garth Brooks concert, so we left her out of this last one.
Like during, like while it was happening.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Russ can probably tell you exactly what song was playing when she fell asleep.
It was the river. So, like, the whole place is all standing up, lighters out, people are crying and hugging and all singing. 19,999 people singing along. And Michelle was sitting in the row behind us. I turned around and looked, and she was just sleeping like a baby. Just out.
I had a lot of tequila. It happens sometimes.
Everybody else gets all wild on tequila. You go night.
You don't want to see me on tequila and fall asleep.
Yeah, man, that girl's wild on tequila. Oh, word, what happens? Man, she goes right to bed. Wait a minute. Not in the way you want her to.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, so in any case, what else is going on?
This may also it is also unfortunate news. There is a rumor that Miley Cyrus is working on a cover Metallica album.
Okay, so before we even speak on this, I'm going to defer to Kevin and Chris. Guys, what do you think about this news that Miley Cyrus is working on a Metallica cover album?
I throw no shade at anybody, so I don't. It could be brilliant. So until I hear it, I'm going to reserve judgment.
Right on. I don't. For some reason, I can't get with her voice at all. And I'm sorry, I cut you off, Kevin. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I'm based here in the Bay Area, so you see a lot of like riffs and interpretations on Metallica around here.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, Metallica plays really frequently with the San Francisco Orchestra, and like that works. Like Enter Sandman is like two rock and guitar riffs away from a classical number. I mean, like
right, yeah.
Certainly long enough to be a classical number, but I don't know. Like I'm like Chris. I withhold judgment until I actually hear it, because like strain great, but I'm not going to be like the first one in line to get it or something.
Right.
I can't say that I have a complete Miley Cyrus nor Hannah Montana collection on vinyl at this point in time, but again, I will reserve judgment. This could be the one. And I heard, in all honesty, we were just talking with this past week. We had a virtual town hall, and we had Audrey Fix Schaefer, who is behind the 930 Club and Meriwether Post Pavilion in the DC area, and she's also part of the National Independent Venue Association. They just had their Save Our Stages Fest online. Mm-hmm. And Miley Cyrus did her set from Whiskey A Go Go, and apparently like blew the roof off the place with nobody there, and it's like made international headlines. I have to check it out. So again, like, go check that out. And then you might be like, bring on Metallica, Miley. Like,
Yeah,
let's
see,
go. And you know what? And Billy Ray might come in for a remix on it too.
Yeah.
So again,
That's true.
it could be the first in my collection. I do actually have a lot of respect for her. She's not exactly, my taste, but I won't lie. I will sing "Along the Party in the USA" when it comes on.
Who doesn't though?
My big jam for her was the Climb.
Yeah.
And of course, I doubt she wrote it, but damn it, what a good song.
And I don't dislike.
Exactly. I was like, I think we've actually just determined we're the first 5 pre-orders of this Metallica.
I think, Kyle, didn't you ordered the Super Deluxe, right?
Yeah. I got the Super Deluxe version.
Yeah, Kyle ordered the Super Deluxe. So he's
they're like all Infectious podcast listeners are suddenly gonna like just line up for this album. We have done Miley a favor.
I don't dislike her because I love her cover. Well, where she sang Jolene with Dolly Parton. I also they just posted her singing
Pearl Jam.
What?
I showed you that Pearl Jam one.
No,
yesterday.
I gotta go find
Zombie.
Yeah, I saw that
was it Pearl Jam or REM, Michelle?
It was Pearl Jam, and it was on TikTok, and so that's where I saw it at. So I saw it yesterday.
I was talking about the zombie cover that she did.
Yeah, I didn't like the Cranberries one.
Yeah,
See, you said you didn't like it, but I thought it was fantastic.
That was one of my things where I don't like the source material, so I don't care to hear a cover of it. I don't like that song.
What?
Everybody, again, welcome to the Miley Cyrus fan podcast. Only covers, though.
We've jumped the rails here.
Only covers.
No originals.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for joining us again.
So to remind everybody, we need you to go to manscaped.com. and I have to assume that by the next episode, we'll be able to announce our partnership with MileyCyrus.com
Yes,
as well.
that'd be fantastic.
So what else we got for news?
This did not happen this week. I think it happened last week, but we forgot to mention it last week. The Flaming Lips did a in-person concert, and they were all wearing bubbles. This is the best way to describe it.
So I want to correct you on how you're reporting that. I think what you meant to say is the Flaming Lips stole our idea.
Yes. That is what I actually meant to say.
We clearly mentioned that on the show.
I was being nice.
Yeah. So you're not so much with the idea, or how do you feel about it?
Something. Like I said before, something needs to happen because people need to go see live music. Yeah. But for me, that takes the enjoyment out of going to a live show.
Right.
Like
to me, it adds to it. Throw me around like a beach ball. I want to be like the beach ball that gets hit
around.
around.
I get my $15 beer through my bubble?
Make a funnel? Maybe some sort of funneling system.
Just have funnels at the top.
Ooh, beer bong.
Sippy cups.
There you go.
Would I go to if there was one around here and that's how that was set up? Would I go? Absolutely, just to experience what it was like to go to one.
I would go. I'd get my bubble signed.
I don't think you get to keep the bubble.
Yeah. Oh, come on. I'm keeping that. If I'm going in the bubble, I'm keeping the bubble.
You just run out of it with your bubble on.
What do you guys think, Kevin? Would you? First of all, what do you think of the idea, and would you participate?
I would absolutely participate. Just like I might not even need the Flaming Lips. I might just take the bubble and spend the whole time like doing fun things with the bubble. Yeah.
I look forward to your TikTok video of you grocery shopping in a bubble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I saw the Flaming Lips as the headliners of an early manifestation of Lollapalooza when it dropped anchor in Chicago 10, 14 years ago, something like that. I think it was 2006. So this might have been 2008, 2009. And they were fantastic, as you'd expect. And it was like one of those things you were talking about earlier where it was like wrong band, wrong show. They played at 6 o'clock in the evening, and it was a beautiful summer, late afternoon in Chicago. And everybody there had been like on their feet for 9.5 hours, watching watching the previous 3 days of the concert and drinking and eating bad food. And like, I was with my best friend, and he's like, I'm going to go right up front. And I'm like, I'm not.
Sweet. I'll wait for you here.
Yeah. And so I sat down under a tree and promptly fell asleep. And and I'm sure it was a great show. But
we just became best friends.
But I can say definitively they didn't play anything super rockin' like Flight Test, which would have woken me up.
Right.
Instead, it was all like really sweet, soft, symphonic stuff like Do You Realize, which again is beautiful music, but like not after you've been standing up for the entire weekend.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I had the wildest dream. I was at Lollapalooza, but the Flaming Lips were playing. You know, I don't remember much of it. It's all a blur.
That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. Chris, how you feeling about the bubble idea? You going to a concert in the bubble?
I can't say that I am. I love the images from it. I think it's a wild and crazy idea. The idea, I mean, I'm too old now to want to get up front with all the hot, sweaty people without bubbles. Like, I don't want to be my own hot, sweaty person in my own bubble. Like, that's not for me. But it did remind me of, though, something like super trippy. When I was in grade school, my music teacher had basically a giant plastic bubble that he inflated in his room. His room became a plastic bubble, and we would like do music class like in his homemade plastic bubble. I have no idea why you'd had this.
That's awesome.
That was my first question, was why?
Like, do you remember, like, in gym class, sometimes we used to have the parachute.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, but the entire room. Like, it's kind of what it felt like.
Holy
And again,
cow.
I have no idea what made him do that. And he only brought it out like twice a year. But it was like, today said, we're in the bubble today. And I was like, what?
So you're kind of having like
I hadn't thought of it in years until I saw some of these images.
So
and I was like,
the bubble thing would be like a flashback for you. You're like, I don't want to go back in the bubble.
Yeah. I like had this crazy dream that I was at Lollapalooza and my music teacher was there and he blew the bubble.
And the Flaming Lips were there. It was
trippy, man.
That's crazy. But yeah, I'm going to a concert in the bubble.
Yeah.
And also,
I would
if
like
at
to
all
check it
possible,
out, yeah.
if at all possible, just roll me
No
down.
matter who it is.
Oh, I don't care. I'll go see Creed in a bubble.
Oh, wow. That's
Yep.
wow.
Yep. Just to go and say I was in a bubble.
I am curious what it sounds like.
Oh, I
man.
didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Did you say that the Flaming Lips were actually in the bubble too? Like they were
Yes,
all.
they're in their own
So
bubbles.
like how? I don't understand how that works then.
Well, they
Like,
have
sound-wise.
wireless microphone
But how does
technology.
it get into your bubble?
Through.
Well, that's, I mean, you're gonna
in-ears.
vibrations will penetrate the plastic. It's not soundproof bubbles. That would really
It's not
defeat
gonna
the
sound
purpose.
good.
Yeah, the concert's not underwater.
It's going to sound.
But
It's going to
that's what I'm
sound
saying.
weird.
I do wonder how the plastic muffles it. Now, then again, I am that guy that wears foam earplugs to concerts because it's so freaking loud and it kills and it damages your ears. And so I put them in, and it's like the perfect diffusion. And it's like now all the distortion is gone, and I can hear it fine. And then when I'm done, I take them out.
Yeah.
I've been to too many concerts as a teenager where I was like, why didn't I wear the earplugs?
Yeah, as a teenager, I woke up most mornings with my ears totally ringing, like, and I'm sitting at the breakfast table. Am I talking loud?
And that doesn't come back, man. That's the problem. So it's like, you learn that lesson too late in life. So, anyway.
Everybody at the breakfast table was like, so the Tool concert was good, I guess, since you're yelling at us. So, in any case, moving right along, our jammies. We always take time to share with you what we're listening to and what we, of course, think you should be listening to by way of our Jammy Jams. And with me, one thing that I don't know why, but I got it stuck in my head this week and revisited a ton going back to covers is Ugly Kid Joe, of all people, has a fantastic cover of Cats in the Cradle. Now, like, I want to frame it up, though. It's Ugly Kid Joe doing Cats in the Cradle, so it sounds like, a quote-unquote hair band doing Cats in the Cradle, but it's a really rocking cover of it. So I've been listening to that a lot. I was talking to a friend the other day, and it was one of those things where if Ugly Kid Joe ever crosses my mind, it's Everything About You is what I think of.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine mentioned it just in casual passing, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that. And I'm like, I have the 7-inch single for that, the Cats in the Cradle cover. So I busted that out, and it's been stuck in my, because I mean, it's a great song in the first place, and then their cover of it being a little more rock is sweet. And then yesterday was birthday of National Treasure Weird Al Yankovic, so I've been listening to a ton of Al. You've been through this before. If I put on one Weird Al song, you're in for 4 hours.
Yeah, then I leave.
Yep.
No, I like Weird Al.
Yeah. Well, I just go through all the layers with everybody. I'm always like, okay, here's the parodies that you've heard. Here's the ones that are freaking amazing that you've never heard. Now let me take you down to what I call the second Weird Al level, which is all the polkas. And then we're going to go all the way down to the, okay, here's some originals you should hear. And whenever I play Weird Al originals for people, I feel like I'm trying to get them to listen to my band. You know what I mean? Hey, you should hear us. We're good. Here's a CD. Like, people are always like, but this doesn't sound at all like a song I know. I'm like, I know, but it's really funny. They're like, no. Okay. No, I'm sure it is, but I don't care to hear this. So for our playlist, I will bless the people with several Weird Al selections. I think one of the most underrated Weird Al parodies of all time is "Living with a Hernia." Instead of "Living with America" by James Brown, and it's brilliant. And it's off hands down his worst album, but that parody is gold. So, Ugly Kid Joe and Weird Al. That's what how things have been going for me. Kevin and Chris, I got to tell you, we've been really looking forward to having you guys on the show, and I'm certain that the number one thing that you've been looking forward to coming on the show is hearing Michelle's Jammy Jams. So here we go. Michelle's going to share her Jammy Jams.
It's so exciting. Actually, this week I've been stuck still on Tom Petty. I've been listening to a lot.
I think that's a good place to be stuck at.
It is.
I've heard he's got some good material.
He's got a little bit of good material, and so I just put that on Spotify and Shuffle. But I did find we like that one song by Jamestown Revival. It's on our playlist.
Yeah.
And this came on another playlist on Spotify, and I absolutely love it. It's called California by them. And I would highly suggest that you check it out.
Right on. I want to say I bought that LP.
I think you might have.
Yeah, I think I did.
And I can't, for the life of me, can't remember what the other song is called. But yeah, we didn't love a whole lot of the other stuff on that record, I think.
Yeah.
But the California song is killer.
There were two artists that you turned me on to around that same time that I really liked the names of the artists, and that was one. And the other was, and I want to say this right, it was J. Roddy Watson and the Business.
Business and the Business.
Yeah, I just think "and the Business" is the best part of a band.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking of, but that we didn't like all the rest of it. But this song is killer, and I would definitely recommend you check it out.
Well, everybody's lives have been improved because they've heard Michelle's Jammy Jams. Kyle, what have you been listening to?
It's been a really podcast heavy week this week.
Oh, what do you mean?
Yeah, I feel like I switched places with you kind of for this week. There's a podcast called Swindled, and it's, I want to say, like a true crime podcast. It is, because it's just about how people get over on other people and swindle them. You'll recognize almost everything that they talk about, the cases of things.
It's like
they have the guys, one of the most recent ones I listened to was about the guy from Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah.
And about how he just stole a bunch of money from people.
Who knew that guy was untrustworthy?
Yeah.
I certainly didn't see it coming.
Yeah, so it's a fantastic podcast, and I found myself listening to just episode after episode after episode, like back to back to back, until my headphones would die. I'd have to charge them and then go back to it again.
Did you see that Sturgill Simpson is the latest artist to receive the Kyle bump?
I did, yeah. When you told me that, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Kyle has a history of picking them number one records, or rather, albums become number one because Kyle picked them.
I think it's that.
Just so we can add something to the playlist, I was listening to the new Weekend album too.
Right. The single that's huge right now, and pardon me for sounding 100, but I don't know the name of it, is so close to Young Turks by Rod Stewart. Every time I hear that song,
you are 100% correct.
Every time I hear that song in public, I'm like, "Oh, Young Turks!" No.
But so what led me to that? Wanting to, because I'd already listened to it when it came out, but I rechecked it out because he released a music video for Too Late, and holy shit, it is. I don't even know how it's on YouTube or how it's allowed to be on YouTube, but it's violent and vulgar and everything that I like about The Weeknd's stuff. I would advise checking the music video out. I would advise that you put your kids to bed first.
Sure.
And it is fantastic.
NSFW, if you will.
Yeah, it's very NSFW.
After the show, will you please explain to Michelle what YouTube is so that she can see it as well?
He already showed me or told me about it. It's fine.
Right on.
Yeah. So that led me to jumping back into the entire album, and I just listened to it front to back.
Sweet. We will circle over to our guests. Chris, we'll go to you first. What are your Jammy Jams? What have you been listening to?
Oh, God. Well, recently something I've had on repeat is something that leaked, actually. It's Miley Cyrus covering Metallica.
You're gonna need to send us a link to that. We need it.
I have two 2.5 recommendations. So one is, and this actually ties back to our movie. So for those who have seen Vinyl Nation, in the opening scene, there's a band playing at Record Store Day at Mills Record Company called The Freedom Affair, and they're playing a song called Rise Up. And actually you hear that song Rise Up in the most recent Apple Watch ad, which is bonkers.
But that's crazy.
just like a month ago, dropped their first full-length album called Freedom is Love, and it's available. You can buy it on Bandcamp, and you can find it on all of the other streaming platforms. Not on vinyl as of yet, but I hope someday. And the whole thing, top to bottom, is fire. It's a really interesting. I really do want it to come out on vinyl, not just because I want to own it on vinyl, but it's a really interesting side A, side B type of album. Side A is all heartbreak and like torch songs and just like it's so good, and then side B is all like positive political activism. Let's come together, hence nice. Freedom is Love is a name. They've got Maya Angelou is sampled on it. It's a very just it's fantastic. And again, if you haven't seen the film, the Freedom Fair is Kansas City Soul. Essentially, it's a 9-person band.
That's good by us.
Yeah. 3 amazing vocalists in front of a 6-piece band. So highly recommend that. And then my other recommendation was sorry if I talk about another podcast, but it's actually not a podcast I'm going to talk about here. But Song Exploder has now moved over to Netflix. And just last night, my wife and I watched both the REM Losing My Religion episode, which was phenomenal. Just to check that out. Even if you're not an REM fan, like just listening to like breaking that song down and revisiting it with the band members and having them actually realize things about the song that they had not realized was really cool. And then the other episode we checked out is Lin-Manuel Miranda talking about his track Wait For It from Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And so I'm definitely a big Hamilton fan. My daughter is now applying for musical theater programs at colleges right now. So we all like that, but I'm the only one in the family. That's my favorite song on the album. Aaron Burr's my favorite character, and everyone else is like, I don't really like it. I have it now on the record that Lin-Manuel Miranda says he thinks that's the best song he's ever written. I was like, yes,
you win.
So that's not really a good look, but since I watched with my wife. But actually, the episode is fantastic, and what was really cool is he wrote a lot of Hamilton, especially songs with Washington and Aaron Burr, in this mansion in Washington Heights where he lives and is from, that Washington lived in. And you can take tours of it, but there are places you can sit in it. So he would like sit in a chair in like a bedroom, and like he talks about how like school tours would come through, like touring the place, and he's rapping to himself with earbuds in. And
that's great.
This guy just sitting in a bedroom.
That's great.
So even if you're not a Hamilton fan, it's really a fantastic episode.
That sounds 1,000% up my alley. And I've done that before with episodes of things like that where I'm like, I don't even really like that artist or that song, but it's worth watching just to hear about the creative process or funny stories or whatever. So hell yeah,
and it's again, if you're not even into Hamilton, you've never heard it before, the song itself is a phenomenal song. So just that alone is just like, okay, cool. It's definitely worth checking out.
Right on. Sweet. Kevin, what are your jammy jams?
I got 2. One of them is a riff on something Russ said at the very beginning of the show. I've always had a thing for Harry Chapin, and I think Harry Chapin kind of gets a bad rap from when he came along. I think he was sort of viewed as like not as creative as Cat Stevens and not as musically talented as Jim Croce, and it was a little too aw shucks and too earnest for his own good. Mm-hmm. There's a great documentary about Harry Chapin that is coming out or just came out called When in Doubt, Do Something, which really, I think, sets the record straight on Harry Chapin. First of all, he was a saint of a human being. He played 300 concerts a year, and half of them were for charity. He probably worked himself to death. He died in a car accident when he had a heart attack behind the wheel. And when his kids were asked about it, they said the guy never took a break. He ate badly. He probably smoked too much, and at 45 years old, he had a heart attack behind the wheel of a car and died. The best Harry Chapin songs. Harry Chapin also had a phenomenal backing band composed of his brother Stephen Chapin and I believe a sister or a cousin of theirs who sang backup vocals, and an extraordinary vocalist named Big John Wallace, who had kind of a Paul Robeson, voice of God kind kind of vocal style. The songs which make full use of the band are the best Harry Chapin songs, not just the ones with him and a guitar. So do a little deep digging with Harry Chapin. Pay particular attention to a song called Mr. Tanner, which features Big John Wallace almost exclusively on vocals, and then a song that he used to close shows with called Circle, which is 7.5 minutes long and is better done live than in a recorded version.
Nice.
And it'll give you a whole new sense of like who Harry Chapin was, instead of just like the smiling nice guy, you know, with the tight 70s sweater and the guitar.
Right.
The other recommendation I would make is, does the word Kwaito mean anything to you guys? Kwaito.
No.
Didn't mean anything to me until like 6 months ago. Kwaito, I found out recently, is the name of a genre of hip hop from South Africa. It is specifically from the immediate post-apartheid time period in South Africa. So yeah, it was basically when Western music came flooding into South Africa after the dismantling of apartheid. The parallel to this is what happened in Eastern Europe after the Berlin Wall fell, and the renaissance that happened to dance and electronic music when that happened. Kwaito is this weird blend of traditional African rhythms, American-style hip-hop, and Jamaican-style dancehall reggae. And it's the kind of stuff where you listen to it and you either want to, like, dance until you pass out, like march in formation with like 16 of your friends in uniform, or just start like punching shit.
And we're good either way.
Yeah. And it's just super fun, and it's the kind of, it's also it's like great to play 5 minutes before you go to the gym, because you'll just feel like find me a semi truck. I want to go. I can lift it now. So I don't have a specific artist in mind, but the genre Kwaito is definitely worth exploring if like high energy, fierce stuff is your thing.
Right on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, that is a really, really good, diverse group of songs we're going to have this week.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And just so you guys know, in like a companion piece to the show, we do a Spotify playlist every week where we gather all this stuff together. So I'm going to have to say that this is going to be the first time that like Harry Chapin and Weird Al and this genre that we just got turned on to of hip hop are all going to be in the same place for a week. So that is going to be pretty fun for everybody to listen to, I think.
Right.
So
cool, man.
I'm going to take us to break real quick. Once we come back from break, we are going to discuss this awesome documentary, Vinyl Nation, that Chris and Kevin put out for everybody to enjoy. We'll be back in just 1 second.
Here at the 500 Section Lounge, we have a few requirements. First, you need to be able to talk about anything at all. Secondly, you need to be able to laugh, play games, and hang out with some very interesting people. From sports radio personalities to reality television contest finalists and everything in between, we talk to them all right here in the lounge. Be on the lookout for what we do next and sit back, relax, and be there to grab a listen.
Hey there, we're BFYTW Podcast. I'm Pantsless Aaron, I'm the host, and we are three silly people playing very silly games for fakey points that don't count for anything. Our permanent team captains are a veteran and a podcaster, and a veteran podcaster, it's Stevie.
Hey guys, it's Midnight Smoke here. I love being funny, goofy, and I'm here for your entertainment.
And his permanent opponent, my oldest friend and a gamer and a storyteller, it's Jorge.
Hey guys, Jorge here, HH_Empire, and I am the logical voice to this Maelstrom of Chaos, sometimes.
Well, if you like silly people playing silly games, then you want to come hang out with us at BFYTW Podcast every week. That's BFYTWpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Dietrich.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben.
We're from the podcast That Song From That Movie, the journey through the very best and worst of movie songs.
We want you to join us on our voyage across the cinematic sound waves as we take a deep dive on a new song and movie each week to figure out just what makes them tick.
Already we've set sail with Celine Dion on the Titanic, found a friend in Toy Story, and gotten drenched out in the rain with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Hopefully each breakdown allows us to answer the ultimate question of what's better, the movie or the song. Or at least learn something new along the way.
Just like learning that Toy Story 4 is a meaningless cash grab without a soul.
You can subscribe right now on all good podcast platforms. If you use one of the bad ones, then that's on you, and we can't be held responsible.
Subscribe to That Song From That Movie.
And we're back. So we have a big privilege. We've been talking to these guys, Kevin Smokler and Christopher Boone, who brought to the world a fantastic new documentary. And something we were talking about earlier, the name of the documentary is Vinyl Nation. And, you know, I think I can speak for the three of us. Even if you're not into vinyl, quote unquote, you could watch this movie and have a great time.
You will be into vinyl after watching the movie.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yes.
For sure. Well, no, we don't want to scare people off. We don't want people to be like, oh, no, I'm going to get a habit.
You might.
You know, so guys, we really appreciate you making the time to come and talk to us, and we certainly appreciate you providing us a way to see the doc, because all three of us just, like, I know I keep saying this, but we really, really liked the way it was done and how it was done. So if you guys don't mind, tell us a little bit about the movie in general and what made you decide to make it.
This is Kevin. The movie is in short summary a 90-minute exploration of records and the diversification of the kinds of people that are into records, the comeback of records over the last 15 years, and how records represent the connective power of music. We got the idea. I mean, the idea was planted many, many years ago when I came into possession of a stereo, a turntable and speakers and amplifier for like a song, because I was at a dinner party and the host was getting rid of it and really probably just didn't want to see it anymore. And so I walked away with it for $200, even though I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't a record person at the time. And then because of that, and because of a few choice trips to a few choice record stores, I became a record person, not knowing that I had done so at exactly the moment in history when records were beginning their comeback.
Yeah.
And so that was totally by accident. And then I started reading all sorts of stuff about how records were coming back, and I started seeing record stores open, even in places where it's really expensive to open a small business, like in San Francisco, where I live. And then, you know, by the time Chris and I got reacquainted, Chris and I went to the same college, but we were a couple of years apart. We traveled in the same circles, but our time there simply did not overlap that much.
Yeah.
By the time Chris and I got reacquainted, the comeback of records had been going on for 10 years. And the story about like why it had happened had been told and retold and speculated on and fussed over endlessly. And so the idea of telling that story somehow had completely changed. And when I brought it to Chris's attention, which I did, because Chris is an experienced filmmaker and I'm a rookie filmmaker, and I had seen a movie of his called Sense, C-E-N-T-S, which you can see on iTunes, and I had loved. And I said, this guy not only knows how to make movies, but he's highly organized and knows how to make things happen. Which I don't. The nature of our partnership, Chris likes to say better than I like to say, is I have the questions and Chris has the answers.
Nice.
And so I said I've been noodling around with this idea about what does the comeback of records mean now that we're 10 years into it, and it shows no sign of stopping. And sure enough, it hasn't. And if there was if we could tell this story, I think we have to tell it visually, because records are a physical manifestation of something that is invisible, music. Mm-hmm. I don't think like writing a book or doing a 10-part podcast series is going to do this particular story justice.
Sure. And
so Chris was like, well, I don't know, that sounds like a documentary to me. And I was like, okay, you ever done that? And he goes, no. And I said, well, neither have I. And so what do we do? And he goes, well, there's this thing called pre-production where you basically talk a lot and see if in the course of those conversations, the stuff you need before you actually start spending money and hiring people, you can put together. And so in the same place, we film every Friday morning for about 6 months. And thankfully, or else we wouldn't have this movie called Vinyl Nation, through that process, something resembling a documentary started to take shape.
Right on.
You guys went to a whole bunch of different cities in this documentary, one of which was Detroit, and I loved seeing that. What made you decide on which cities you guys wanted to film at?
So we, during pre-production, reached out to our networks to find anybody that we thought made sense to talk to about the film. Some of it was just to kind of do research and just get a better understanding about the vinyl industry, vinyl record industry, the comeback, et cetera, but also just talking with people who are longtime collectors of records or just getting into it. And pretty early on, we had a bunch of different categories of people that we wanted to include in the film. We wanted to include, young people just getting into vinyl records. We wanted to include parents sharing vinyl with their kids. Pressing plants, etc. And as we were doing that, we made a map on Google and we just started dropping pins on that virtual map to see where everybody was popping up, because we had the title Vinyl Nation from the moment Kevin brought the idea to me. So if you're going to call something Vinyl Nation, you better cover the nation.
Right.
We knew we would be doing interviews in places like New York and LA. Kevin's based in San Francisco, so we're going to be doing stuff there. It's music, so we're probably going to be in Nashville. We'll probably land in Austin. But at the same time, we didn't want to only go to those places that you would absolutely expect us to go to, and so we had to figure out, are we covering the country? So looking at the map would help us step back and say, literally, what regions of the country are we not covering? And then if we were so lucky that we were finding people clustered in certain areas, that we could kind of put it together. So it was this combination of covering the whole country, but also we had limited time, limited budget. So we could only logistically get to so many places in so many cities. So we did get down and do a swing down kind of through the southeast. We got into Orlando, Florida, and out to Merritt Island, Florida, and Winston-Salem and Durham and North Carolina. And we swung through. We did do Nashville, but we were going to swing up to Louisville. And from there, that's how we got up to Detroit. But there were other places that we really wanted to get to. And just, again, time and budget, we couldn't. Chicago had been on the map for a long time, didn't make it. Minneapolis, didn't make it. Seattle, Portland, Cleveland, you could go on and on. We could just keep making this over and over and over and over again. So did we find a balance of covering the country while at the same time having enough people tell the narrative that we hopefully wanted to emerge? And ultimately, we think we did. Most people have said, wow, you really go all over the place. And I'm only thinking of the places we didn't go to.
Right on. Did you notice anything different between the cities and people collecting records there? Did they have different characteristics or anything?
No, it was more dependent on whom we talked to. One of the unfortunate realities, as everybody who gets into records knows, is records take up a lot of room. So, so there were definitely people who lived in places where square footage is more expensive, had fewer opportunities to have the basement record store setup you guys have, for example. And then, of course, we talked to a lot of people who were just younger or earlier on in life. And we had a couple of college students in our movie. And for those people, record shopping is your 20 favorite records by your 6 favorite bands that go in a milk crate underneath your bed. Right. Because that's all you have space for.
Right.
And, maybe you have a little a Crosley or a slightly higher end turntable on the nightstand next to your bed. But I would say that we are far enough along in the record renaissance at this point that every place we went to, even if it was a giant city or even if it was a much smaller city or even a fair-sized town, has a really nice ecosystem of record stores.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I don't think that would have been true 20 years ago.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No.
When we hear, when we get emails, even though the movie's been out for a little while, we get emails to this day from people saying, thank you so much for doing your movie. We represent, 4 record stores in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and you guys just got it, man. We didn't go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I didn't know there were 4 record stores in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but that's bitchin'.
Yeah. It's funny, real quick, when you talk about the similarities between places, the film opens with what is apparently a typical record store day, the way it is handled, because I kid you not, when I first put the film on, I was looking down at something and I was hearing the audio, and they could have been filming at Dearborn Music here in Michigan. It was exactly one person going down the line to 20 people. Okay, here's the order that everything's going to be in. And then of course the obligatory in the film, it's if you're here for the Crow, and everybody shakes their head yes. But you could have been filming at Dearborn Music in Michigan, and it would immediately grab me we're all the same, in a good way. I mean, and I'm sorry, Kevin, I cut you off.
No, I was done.
I was just chiming in, but
Chris.
based on but it's what you're just saying there. I'm glad that's the way it came across to you, because for a long time, Kevin and I kicked around like, how are we going to do Record Store Day? Like, are we going to try to cobble together a bunch of archival footage from the actual day itself in 2019? Are we going to try to hire shooters all over the country just to get footage and like maybe do some interviews themselves? I'm like, no. And it was in the process of interviewing people, and we were interviewing a lot of record store owners, particularly women who own record stores, that we came in contact with Judy Mills. And Judy opened her store in 2013 because she was looking for new vinyl in Kansas City and went into a long established record store there and asked if they would have a copy or could get a copy of a new record, and they quite literally scoffed at her. And she walked out and was looking around going, nobody's selling new vinyl. And at that point in time, the resurgence is going on 4, 5, 6 years, and she'd been in retail herself for a long time, said, this is a business opportunity. So she opened up Mills Record Company, and from that first year, she opened, I think, right around Record Store Day in 2013, or no, right after, something like that. But she's always just gone all out. She orders everything, because that's the thing, is like record stores have to decide what they're going to order, because you can't send it back, because you can't send records back, period. And so some of them really kind of hedge their bets, and when they hedge their bets, they don't even get what they ordered, whereas Judy's like, nope, I'm going all in. And because she goes all in, she gets pretty much what she orders, and so everybody knows. So she gets people not just from Kansas City, but she gets people from all the surrounding areas coming to her store, and they go to her store first, and then they go to the other record stores to see, well, what else is going on. But it's also because Judy is fantastic. She's super friendly. She talks about how it's all about making authentic connections. So when we talked to her on the phone, and she was telling us the stories of like what happens at Mills Record Company for Record Store Day, and it was quite authentic as she was describing it to us. We got off the phone, and pretty quickly Kevin and I were like, I think we have to go to Kansas City for Record Store Day. Like, I think that is where we're going to shoot it. And we did wonder, like, is it going to hold up? Like, can one represent the whole? It
does.
And to your point, I'm glad you kind of registered that, because we do have later on in the film, we talk about the history of Record Store Day, and so we do have the archival footage there, and you do realize, it looks a lot like what we were filming there, and yet the faces change, and the street changes, and wherever you were because of whatever city is changed, but the experience is universal. So that's great to hear that you guys are like, wait a minute.
Absolutely. Now, Kyle's got some questions lined up here, but I just want to make sure everybody is able to get to sleep tonight, because today is Record Store Day that we're recording this, and it'll be out 2 days after Record Store Day. But just so you guys can get some sleep tonight, and our listeners can, I did get my Skid Row Slave to the Grind Record Store Day piece today.
Awesome.
So I just, you know what I mean? I don't want you guys up tonight. Oh my! Did he get a Skid Row record?
That is music news.
Yeah,
we could have had that for music news.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and do a humble brag. I do have an original pressing of "Slave to the Grind." I just wanted the RSD piece because it's on 2 LPs now with extra songs that weren't on the original pressing.
Okay.
So I would have gotten by with my original pressing if I had to.
You would have lived.
Yeah, I still had Monkey Business on vinyl, and that's all that matters to me.
Right on.
Because that is the jam. It destroys. All you ever hear from Skid Row is the 3 singles off the first record.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, Monkey Business destroys all 3 of those songs, and then the whole rest of the record kicks 10 kinds of ass after that. So I will get off my Skid Row soapbox now.
Moving on.
Yeah. Moving right along. Kyle, what kind of questions do you have?
Out of all the jumping around that you guys did around the country and all the people that you talked to, did anything like really surprise you or throw you off that you weren't expecting?
I mean, we definitely. My first answer, my answer with no thought behind it is no, and that's just because we did a ton of pre-production, and this is something Chris knew and I didn't. Filmmaking is a lot like printing, in that like 90% of what you do happens before you turn on cameras. Hire a crew. Like most of it is in pre-production.
Right on.
And then of course you have your period of filming, which is by necessity short because it's the most expensive and labor intensive part of what you do. And then you have a pile of footage afterwards, which we had, and then we had to spend what, 7 years putting it together? Like no. It took 4 or 5 months to to.
Yeah, it was a pretty fast process.
Not
thanks to our editors, not thanks to us.
Not at all. I think the thing that was really surprising to us, which we did not realize, is we definitely liked everybody we interviewed.
That's awesome.
We wouldn't have. I don't think. I mean, anyone who we didn't think would speak eloquently on camera, we kind of weeded out in pre-production.
Sure.
We didn't count on liking everybody as people because we just didn't know. We hadn't met any of them before we interviewed. I mean, maybe one or two, but we hadn't really met most of them before we interviewed them. And we ended up liking them all as people. And the indication that gave us is that record people kind of have something in common, even if they are very different in all other demographic categories. Record people kind of speak a common language.
Yeah,
and we felt like we could sit down and jaw about records with any of these people for a couple of hours and feel like we had really made a human connection with them, even if we had very little else in common.
That's awesome.
I don't think we saw that.
That's awesome.
I would say in terms of surprises for me, like going into it, we thought we had a good idea, but you don't know until you actually get out there in the field. You start interviewing people, and even then, it's just all raw footage and just conversations. And it's like, is this going to pull together in any sort of way that's going to be interesting to watch? You know, because everybody that we interview people for over an hour. Like, we have so much footage with people, and we have to condense it down into like 90 minutes. But the people that we interviewed that have been interviewed in the past about music in general and maybe records specifically, I think they were kind of like, okay, who are you guys and what are we talking about? And we had talked to almost all of them ahead of time, almost. But, you know, they're like, I've been through this. I've done this before. I know how this is going to go. I know the questions you're going to ask. Yeah, I'm ready. You know, here we go. And they weren't dismissive, but there's a little bit of like, I've been here before. You guys are new.
Right.
But by and large, I can think of multiple interviews, and they're all great people. But I can think of like Oliver Wong, who is not only a professor, but also he has this podcast, Heat Rocks, with Morgan Rhodes, who's also in her film, and she's our music supervisor. With Ben Blackwell at Third Man Records, with Billy Fields and Warner Music Group. Like, I think they were all a bit tentative when we began, and this is credit to Kevin as an interviewer, because Kevin did the actual asking of the questions on camera. But across all of them, after it was done, they were all like champions of the project.
That's
and
awesome.
Immediately afterwards, they were like, this was great. Like, I had no idea this is what we were going to be talking about. And wow, you guys really have thought about this, and you knew in different ways. And we're like, oh, okay. You know,
that's good.
And that was one of my things from a viewing standpoint, because as you might imagine, I've seen every vinyl documentary that there is, and in a way I was like, okay, well, I know what to expect. And one point that I love that you guys really brought home in the movie is not every vinyl collector is trying to get you to get into vinyl because we all think it sounds better. There's a multitude of reasons to get into vinyl. And I really love that you guys brought that home, because almost every documentary there's almost always a section of it that's like, and vinyl sounds a million times better, and we all think that, and that's why you should buy it. And for me, that's one of the last reasons to buy it. It's not about it, you know. So I really appreciate that you guys brought that out.
We actually, we knew we were going to ask the question, does vinyl sound better to everyone? Because that, when we would tell anyone, hey, what are you working on? Oh, I'm working on a documentary about the resurgence of vinyl records. Oh, okay, I don't have records. Does vinyl really sound better? That's like the very first question everyone asks. Who has no knowledge about any format whatsoever, that just asked that. And it was funny, our editors were like, really? Like, do you really want to include that? I'm like, yeah, we really want to include it, because we had, like, to your point, like, there's just so many different answers, and there's no right one. And some of my favorite answers in it were these people, more than one person said, well, better than what? Like, nobody ever says better than what? Like, are we talking CDs? Are we talking cassettes? Are we talking, 8-tracks? Like,
FLAC files. Like, what do we? Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And so it was really fun, to hear all their answers. Like, Kevin, what was your take on that particular question?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like, really specifically with this question, does vinyl sound better? But in general, like, we did not come into making Vinyl Nation with a lot of hard and fast opinions. Like, I think the one we had was, the audience for records is probably bigger and more diverse than it was 10 years ago, or else why would there be a comeback? Like, you can't have the exact same people just buying twice as many records to justify a comeback. Something, the customer base has to be growing somehow. And so who are those people? Like, that was the only like really hard and fast opinion we had. Other than that, I mean, Chris and I have no issue with documentaries that do have hard and fast opinions, but like, we're not trying to like exonerate someone wrongly accused of murder or something like that. Like we figured more the purpose of making a documentary was to explore the questions rather than like walk in with an answer to them already.
Right.
And so like that one, does vinyl sound better? In the course of just doing our pre-interviews, we got 15 different answers to that question before we ever turned the cameras on. So we kind of knew that like that's what the segment would end up looking like in the movie. And it was Chris Livengood, the owner of Ember Audio, who was one of the featured people in our movie, who I had actually known because he used to live in San Francisco and he sold me an amplifier before we ever started making this movie. And he sort of broke it all down for us when we had our pre-production conversation. And he's like, well, sure, vinyl sounds better under the following conditions, but here's the whole list of things that goes into making a recorded piece of music. And any of these can be done great and any of these can be done terribly. And, you know, and you hope more great than terrible, but that ratio is basically going to determine if this particular recorded piece of music in any form is going to sound good or bad. Yeah, strong opinions was not the idea here, and we didn't want to tell anybody who saw Vinyl Nation how to think. We wanted them to come away from our movie with their own experience of what records mean.
Absolutely. What did you want viewers to walk away with from watching your movie?
I think, when we went into it, we thought we were making a film about how the vinyl fans have diversified. We thought we were making a film about inclusion. Our editors quickly realized when we brought them the footage that what we actually had captured was a movie about human connection. And it just happens to be around records. And so what I hope people take away when they see this film is, as we were talking about early on in the podcast, like, if you're into records, I think you're going to be into this movie. But if you're not into records, this movie's for you too. Mm-hmm. Like, and you probably will be into records after it's done. But more than anything, because it's a movie about human connection, you will connect with the people that are in our film. And also our editor said, we think if you put the 45 people that you interviewed in a room together, they'd all be fast friends, even though they had never met. And again, a big part of that is because they're into records, mm-hmm. but they are very, very different people. And I think one of the best examples of that for me has always been the two people in our films, Rosalie, who is a vice president with the Ms. Foundation and lives in Harlem, but is a huge and such a serious record collector that when she travels for business, when she could before the pandemic, before she goes to her meetings or her conference, after she lands, she goes to a record store to dig, because she doesn't want to miss the opportunity for finding that gem that's only in that city. Mm-hmm. And she has the record collection to prove it. And then DJ Cutmaster Kurt, and who's obviously been into vinyl ever since he was young, and then is sampling and producing amazing stuff for like Beastie Boys and Linkin Park and his own mixtapes and stuff like that. But I feel like these two people on paper, if you take away records, are very, very, very different people. But because of records, they told us some of the exact same stories about digging and their relationship with records and their spouses, and how when they were looking for places to live, the records was a really important part of that. And they were willing, the record collectors were willing to step back and say, no, I'll put my records away. I'll put them in storage. And it was their spouses who were like, no. Yeah. Like, you could put them all up right here. Like, we wouldn't get a place if you couldn't put your records out. And they both told this exact same story.
Yep.
And we didn't prompt either of them, because, like, why would we? And that was crazy to me. So to be able to cross-cut those two things, it's like, see, this is the perfect example. Like, we are all very similar. We just don't realize it yet. And again, our movie is just, it's about records bringing people together.
I
so
kid
I hope
you
people
not,
feel connected.
Where we're sitting right this second doing this podcast and where all of my records are over there, when my wife and I looked at this house, when we walked into this basement for the first time, my wife was like, and your records could go over there. And, you know, and you could put stuff over here. And it, like when I was watching the film, I was like, that's me.
Yeah, see?
You guys briefly mentioned it in the movie, but do you guys think that vinyl will be able to sustain itself as prices go up for vinyl?
That's a really good question, and we definitely address it in the movie, and we are not fond of the fact that, like, one of the negative things that has come out of the renaissance of vinyl is people thinking, well, is music labels, I guess rightly for their bottom line, thinking, well, you know what, a Spotify membership is $9.99 a month, and we only get a little bit off of each stream. A brand new record is $35. You know, like that's or because we say it's $35, like there's a lot more money to be made in brand new records. The thing I take some small bit of comfort in, and I don't know if I'm deluded in thinking this, is there has always been respect for used records in a way there has not for used cassettes, used 8-tracks, used CDs. The used record market is it may not register with record labels because it's all aftermarket sales,
sure.
but like the used record market is as vibrant as it has ever been, and even though the amount of product is relatively stable, because as someone we interviewed but it didn't end up in the movie says, you don't get new used records. I really appreciate the fact that one can become a vinyl person still at a relatively reasonable price if you just shop carefully used at your local record store or on Discogs. And, you know, like also if you want to start like in very shallow waters with very like simple mainstream kind of stuff, Chris and I would talk to record store owners in this movie that say we still sell 15 copies of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors a day.
Yeah.
And then we would say we're pretty sure there isn't anybody on Earth left who doesn't have it.
I don't own Rumors.
Neither do I actually. But
I'm the one.
Yeah, we may be it. But
no shit. Like I probably should buy, but every time I think I'm like I should leave that for the person who's going to buy it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You're doing a public service.
Rumors is like Times Square. Like you go to Times Square and it's sick crowded, or at least it was before the pandemic. And you're always going to have a moment where you're like, isn't everybody who wants to go to Times Square, haven't they been already? Hasn't that happened? Like, it doesn't seem like a kind of place you have to go to more than once. So like, I take some small bit of comfort in the fact that like you can still get into vinyl. There's no shame in being a used record person and not ponying up big bucks for your favorite albums right away.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as distribution of the film goes, I'm sure like everything else in 2020, plans were going along just fine for a wide theater release and whatnot. And then the lockdowns happened. And I really like the creative way that you guys distributed the film to where it's still helping the theaters that would be showing the film. So how long is that long term, the setup you have now where people can buy like a quote digital ticket and watch it that way? Or what's the long term for distribution?
Well, so right now we're doing our virtual cinema release, and so if you go to vinylnationfilm.com and you click where to watch, you can find an art house cinema or an independent record store, and we've got a couple live music venues in there too, who are selling tickets, and they get to keep 50% of the proceeds from each ticket that they sell through that link. And that actually goes through the end of November, through to November 30th. And we launched our virtual cinema release right before the first of the 3 record store day drops. We launched on Friday, August 28th. Previous to that, like you said, nobody expected the pandemic. So we had anticipated like, let's see if we could screen it maybe at a film festival in the spring. We were hoping to do a summer road show and go back to a number of the cities where we filmed and have screenings at theaters and maybe have some of the people that we interviewed join us for Q&A. And then in the fall, have more of a traditional release either through art house cinemas or something like that. And documentaries don't typically get wide theatrical release. They rely on the art house cinemas to get their movies out there. So we finished everything on this film, sound mix, color correction, everything dropped in February 2020. So a month later, boom, everything shuts down.
Yeah.
And Kevin and I were trying to figure out, like, we were still planning the roadshow at that point, and then all of a sudden, like, this ain't gonna happen. So we're just trying to figure out, like, what are we gonna do? Are we just gonna sit on this thing? And Kevin made a good point, like, this is gonna be weird if we just sit on this and, like, we don't know when this is gonna end, and is it going to be bizarre to, like, show this after the pandemic? Like,
for sure, yeah.
We just didn't. Nobody knows. Still, nobody knows the future. So we're just hemming and hawing. And then one day I had a brainstorm, and I called Kevin. I said, "Listen, this is a crazy idea. What if we get in touch with the Record Store Day Organization National and said, hey, would you help us partner with record stores all over the country, and we'll make our film available for one weekend only, and record stores can sell tickets, and we'll let them keep 100% of the proceeds for that one weekend." Is that something that you think your record stores would get behind? Because Record Store Day is supposed to be the third Saturday in April, and it just got wiped right off the calendar. And that's their biggest day of the year. Without that, like, a number of stores go under. So Carrie Colleton at Record Store Day, who we'd gotten to know for the making of the film, said, "Yeah, I think it's a good idea." And she put the word out to the record stores, and we had over 200 record stores sign up.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, collectively they sold almost $37,000 in tickets for that one weekend.
Wow.
Damn.
So that was great. And it gave all these people a moment to watch the film actually together separately. Like, a lot of people watched it online and were chatting with friends or had their friends on phone or FaceTime or whatever to watch it together. We joined some live tweets of it, and it was fascinating to just hear people's reactions, and they just missed seeing each other at Record Store Day, but it was a small substitute for it, and it did bring people together. So we did get the human connection that we were hoping for. And so this release that we're doing now is more, even though it's not traditional, it's a little bit more traditional, where we're splitting the ticket proceeds. But we recognize, like, okay, this time around we got to support the art house cinemas in addition to the record stores.
Yeah.
Because the record stores and the theaters, and especially the live venues that can't do anything right now, like, we want them to be here when this is over, and they're what make our cities and towns and neighborhoods so special. And if we're not even doing just something to help them, like, we've just totally missed an opportunity. Like, what is the point of making this movie? So it's far from what we had hoped would happen. And also, to be honest, like, you're not bringing in the same crowds as you would if you could bring it out to a physical theater, because, one ticket is enough to have a whole family watch, and that's great in these times when $12 is a lot to ask of some people to watch our movie.
Right,
so
sure.
I'm not worried about that as much, but yeah, it's just different. But I joke with Kevin, we're doing things in reverse. So we have a virtual cinema release, and then we found out we got into some film festivals, and we're like, what? So we're actually playing at some film festivals now, and, like, into the future. Like, this is backwards. And then I said, so when it's all said and done, then we're going to bring it into the theaters, at least into one theater one time, so that Kevin can see his movie that he made with an audience of people. And I don't know when that's going to be, but we'll do it at some point.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we absolutely will.
Do you guys think that listening to music on vinyl, or collecting vinyl in general, changes the perceived value of music into actually being art and not just something that you toss away and listen to, flip through and listen to?
Yeah, it certainly has for me. Like, I wasn't someone who, I've always had, like, a really strong relationship with music, and I understand, like, Chris and I are not anti-streaming people. There are plenty of people that we both have in our lives that are rabid music fans, and everything they own or listen to is on an iPhone. Like, and they have chosen to be rabid music fans and consume music in that particular fashion. I think that we have both noticed, because we both came to records as adults. Like, we were a little too young to be record people when records were the only or even dominant way of listening to music. We both grew up in the cassette era, cassette merging into CDs era. But I think we've both recognized that that the system that works best for us is that streaming is kind of a prelude to buying something on vinyl. You audition something with streaming because vinyl is kind of an expensive, bulky way to discover things. And you audition something on streaming, and then if you like it, you say, very well, proceed to the next round, and the next round is buying it on record. and that seems to work really well for both of us. And I think Chris is an interesting story because Chris has kids, and so he has a multi-generational relationship with music. But I think even if you don't recognize it as such, streaming is a bit like a utility, like the electricity or the running water, where you turn it on and you turn it off, and if it's there, great. And if you only notice it if it's not. But it doesn't require the kind of deep, soulful connection with music, or even the process of listening to music, that like having a record which is a fragile object, which is larger than your face, which is like black as the night sky when you look into it, like it activates 4 of your 5 senses. I mean, you can eat a record if you want, then it'll activate 5 of your 5 senses, but like it operates on such a deeper neurological level that I don't think it can help but increase your appreciation for music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I myself am relatively new to vinyl, and God, I had hundreds of CDs back in the day, and I digitized them and put them in iTunes and did the whole thing that everybody did back in the day when, streaming or digital music was new. But man, there's nothing like getting a record in the mail or going to buy a record. Or
correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like I helped get you into vinyl, but I feel like watching this documentary took you from about 50 to 150.
There were parts of your guys' film that like I literally had like goosebumps while I was watching it, and that sounds weird, but like I don't know, it was just awesome. And to know that I'm feeling those same feelings that people have been feeling for a long time is it's awesome.
Yeah, the film really relays it.
Yeah,
I thank you. That's flattering. I think one of the things that we got lucky with on our film was we had no plans of filming and Stoughton printing, which is where we show you how album covers are made.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
The only reason we filmed there was Jessa Zaper-Gray, who's in the film and is a consultant to the music industry, specifically around the production of vinyl records. We were in Los Angeles, and she lived down in Orange County, and she's like, I'm just too far away from you guys. Can I suggest somewhere like in between that we could film? And we said, yeah, absolutely. She said, what about Stoughton Printing? So you guys can come out to City of Industry and we'll set up there. And we said, oh yeah, sure. That'd be great. And then we get there and we're like, well, wow, it'd be great if we could kind of film here. And then Rob Machon, who's in the film too, he's like, well, we're going to shut down the presses in about like an hour. So we tell Jessa, like, can we just delay your interview? Okay, thanks, bye. And then we just like, go through and just shoot all the stuff. And that stuff is gorgeous. And it also just blew me away because, we actually show it in reverse. The first thing you see when you go in is all the new printing presses and stuff, just real high end. And that's where you see like the Sgt. Pepper's 50th anniversary thing coming off the thing. And like, okay, that's cool. But what was really fascinating was the old style tip-on jackets that they still do.
Yeah.
Where it's when you see it in the film, it just blows me away. There's this woman who's just kicking a pedal, which then releases the conveyor belt to move, and then it stops, and then the glue has come out onto it, and then she just tips on the gatefold and then kicks the pedal and it goes again. And if you count it, she's doing it in less than 2 seconds. She's lining it up perfectly every time in less than 2 seconds, and then boop, kicking the pedal.
That was amazing.
And it's just so cool to actually watch that happen. And then it just helped us go into this whole scene of like all the crazy stuff you can do with packaging. And we didn't even film some of their back rooms where they just have like on display just some like absolutely insane album covers and box sets and stuff like that. Like Rob said, anything you want to do, we'll figure out the way and make it happen. Like, you want scratch and sniff, we'll do that. And then it's really funny how we got Mark Michaels to tell the story of Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lip record, and he's like, yeah, we'll do everything but put your blood in the record. That's on you. And we're like, and so of course, we gotta find that footage on YouTube, and he's literally injecting record with blood. Yeah. And it's like, that is insane. But yeah, some of those things, that was one of the few like happy accidents for a documentary we had to plan every moment. So I'm really thrilled.
It provided me with another one of those hey, that's me moments, because I have dog problems by the format. And
nice.
That was one of them.
I thought you were going to say you put your own blog in the
That's where I thought he was going with it too. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, I caught myself near that record once. Does that matter? But no, I literally, as soon as the young lady in the film mentioned dog problems, I was like, yes, I have that. And I love that gatefold. I can show it to you guys later. She she mentioned in the film, they show it the way you see the dogs underneath.
Yeah.
And it's just a really cool, like, that was one of the reasons why I wanted the record, was because of the way that was packaged.
And so they used to do that stuff with CDs too. When CDs were really popular, like they would, the packaging would be special, and like that's part of what drew me to wanting to buy that particular, like the deluxe edition or whatever.
There was an Ozzy live album that came in a speaker grill.
Yeah,
back when CDs were popular.
Yeah, there's a Marilyn Manson album that the cover or the entire thing, it feels like sandpaper. It's all textured, and I was like, oh my god, like this is amazing. Like, it's just so cool to have that, and to see that they do that with vinyl as well as it's awesome.
It's awesome. You've heard us gush about this film for, I don't know, going on an hour now, and we can't stress enough. Like, if you are a person who's even thinking about getting into vinyl, if you're a person who has no interest in getting into vinyl, this film is for you.
If you just like documentaries.
Yeah, if you just like
even
documentaries.
if you don't like documentaries, don't go in looking at it as a documentary. Go in looking at it as them just having casual conversations with people about music and vinyl, and it's
know how similar we all are.
There's nothing trying to sway your opinion to convert all of your music over to vinyl or anything crazy like that. It's just literally go and experience this and look at how many other people think exactly the same way you do about something.
Yeah, absolutely. So the name of the film is Vinyl Nation. The best way to learn about it is to go to vinylnation.com. It was brought to us by the directors Christopher Boone and Kevin Smokler. Guys, we can't thank you enough for making the time and sharing the film with us and the world.
Yes, that's been amazing.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. We appreciate it. And just to chime in, it's vinylnationfilm.com.
Oh, Vinyl Nation Film. I will make sure that we put that in our show notes and social media and everything as well. VinylNationFilm.com is where you're going to go to learn about that. Real quick housekeeping for this show. Not only do we have this awesome episode that we're sharing with everybody, but 1 week from today, we have got a barn burner of an interview that we're going to share with everybody, which is the son of Tito Jackson, which inherently makes him the nephew of King of Pop Michael Jackson. Taj Jackson sat down with me just a couple of nights ago, and to say that no topic was taboo or there were no questions that were not allowed would be an understatement. We covered everything that people are going to want to hear about, so we're going to share that the week after this one. So once you hear this episode, go to vinylnationfilm.com, view that film, and then get ready for next week because it's going to be fantastic. So as we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Kosalecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.